Over the weekend, Trump slapped tariffs on 8 NATO ally countries to force Denmark to sell him Greenland. Carney calls it an escalation. The best part, most of those countries are going to meet in Davos, Switzerland for the WEF annual conference tomorrow. Now, that should be interesting. My name is Nico Hagen, and I'm too conservative for the conservatives. My co-host, Rob Ambrose, not woke enough for the liberals. We are the political orphans. As you can see, my co-host is not here. He is late, as always. He's a liberal. What can you do? But that doesn't mean we're not going to get things started right now. So let's get into the meat of the subject, and let's talk about the biggest story that happened over the weekend, what Trump said about 8 NATO countries. So I don't know if you guys have seen this, but he's talking about putting 10% tariffs, possibly going up to 25 if somehow they interfere with him buying Greenland. Did you expect this? Because this is a very, very interesting situation. But here is the post that Donald Trump did posted on Truth Social, because obviously he's always posting on his own platform. But let's read through it, because it's definitely something that's going to make things interesting in Davos tomorrow. Trump said, "We have subsidized Denmark and all of the countries of the European Union and others for many years by not charging them tariffs or any form of remuneration. Now, after centuries, it is time for Denmark to give back. World peace is at stake. China and Russia wants Greenland, and there's not a thing that Denmark can do about it. They currently have 2 dog sleds as protection, one added recently. Only the United States of America under President Donald J. Trump can play this game, and very successfully. Nobody will touch this sacred piece of land, especially since the national security of the United States and the world at large is at stake. On top of everything else, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, Germany, the United Kingdom, the Netherlands, and Finland have journeyed to Greenland for purposes unknown. This is a very dangerous situation for the safety, security, and survival of our planet. These countries who are playing this very dangerous game have put a level of risk in play that is not tenable or sustainable. Therefore, it is imperative that in order to protect global peace and security, strong measures be taken so that this potentially perilous situation end quickly and without question. Starting on February 1st, 2026, all of these above mentioned countries, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, Germany, the United Kingdom, the Netherlands, and Finland, will be charged a 10% tariff on any and all goods sent to the United States of America. On June 1st, 2026, the tariff will be increased to 25%. This tariff will be due and payable until such time as a deal is reached for the complete and total purchase of Greenland. The United States have been trying to do this transaction for over 150 years. Many presidents have tried, and for good reasons, but Denmark has always refused. Now, because of the Golden Dome and modern-day weapons system, both offensive and defensive, the need to acquire is especially important. Hundreds of billions of dollars are currently being spent on security programs having to do with the dome, including for the possible protection of Canada. And this very brilliant but highly complex system can only work at its maximum potential and efficiency because of angles, meets, and bounds. If this land is included in it, the United States of America is immediately open to negotiation with Denmark and or any of these countries to have put so much at risk despite all that we have done for them, including maximum protection over many decades. Thank you for your attention to this matter." That is a very interesting turn of affairs, especially, like I said, especially that tomorrow they're all going to meet at the WEF annual conference in Davos, Switzerland. Now, as you saw, Donald Trump is talking once again about Russia and China. He's indicating how he wants Greenland for world peace. Rob and I have spoken about this on the show many times before, but he is definitely playing the game of the three biggest powers on the planet. He's finally, or should I say finally, he's definitely trying to be one of the big swinging dicks, and he wants to have his power respected. And yes, I agree, Wilf. The WEF is going to be one to watch. Yeah, I'm very, very curious to see that, because yes, most of those countries are going to be there. But where it gets interesting is what Mark Carney had to say about this, and he addressed this today earlier. I think it was when he was still. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's still in Qatar. But here is. Let me play what Mark Carney had to say about this, because that is something that's worth explaining, because he will talk about certain sections of NATO, which you'll understand afterwards why I really wanted to talk about this. So here is Mark Carney. I believe he was still in Qatar, speaking about Trump's tariff threat on European countries over Greenland.
I want to talk to you or ask you questions about the new economic coercion that Mr. Trump is directing at our next door neighbor, as well as 7 European allies and Britain. He's talking about 10% tariffs until he's allowed to buy Greenland on 8 countries, and they're going to go up to 25% in June. So my question is, how can Canada accept this? What are you going to do about it, including adding to the military presence in Greenland? And what are you going to tell Mr. Trump? What's your message to Mr. Trump about this economic coercion if you meet him in Davos?
Thank you for this very precise question. It's a serious situation, and we're concerned. We're concerned about this escalation, to be absolutely clear. We always will support sovereignty and territorial integrity of countries wherever their geographic location is. The future of Greenland, decisions about the future of Greenland are for Greenland and Denmark to decide. And the security of Greenland, security is first and foremost for them, but very much falls within the responsibilities of NATO. I had conversations with the NATO Secretary General in Paris 10 days ago, within the past 2 weeks at least, about how we're going to further enhance that security umbrella. It's something that Canada is working on already and contributing to. When I say working on within the broader Arctic, the so-called western flank and northern flank of NATO. And that's the job of NATO, and that's the responsibility of NATO partners. I have spoken to our European NATO partners, a number of them, Nordic NATO partners. I've spoken to the Prime Minister of Greenland, and there's a full commitment, not surprisingly, as is appropriate, of NATO partners to the security of Greenland. That's the right way to address this security, and the right way, finish and then hand back in terms of whether it's development of critical minerals, is to develop in partnership.
You didn't mention the United States once. I asked you, what are you going to say to Mr. Trump about this economic coercion?
I'm going to say everything I just said. How's that?
I want to talk to you or ask you.
So basically, Carney called it an escalation. He said that he would say that to the U.S., but as the reporter said, he didn't say anything. There was no threat in there to. Yes, I agree. I agree completely, Wilf. Like, this was just word salad. They didn't say anything worth mentioning outside of Article 5, which I wanted to bring that up because that's something that I've learned about today, and we'll see if you guys are more aware of NATO's articles, but it's worth mentioning it. So basically, Mark Carney in his address talked about was it here or was it the next video I wanted to show? Oh no, No, that's why. Yeah, okay, that makes more sense because I didn't hear it. So he basically just called it an escalation. Um, One of the things, the reason I wanted to bring this up is, did you hear what they said? What they said, I mean, what Mark Carney said last week. Well, no, this week actually, we're Sunday. So, what Mark Carney said about Trump and what would happen if he actually tried to take over Greenland, because this is the part that is really worth speaking about, because it could be the future of NATO. This is what's very, very interesting about what Trump is doing, about the tariffs, about what Mark Carney is saying. This is what's very, very interesting, because I'm not a fan of NATO. I don't think NATO has a purpose. NATO's always trying to start shit with other countries, especially Russia. But here is what Carney said about what Trump was doing. That was a couple of days ago. The video I just showed you was today, calling it the tariffs, calling the tariffs an escalation. But this is before the tariffs, and listen to what Carney said.
I'd like to know what Canada is doing to protect the integrity of Greenland. And related, China fashions itself a near Arctic power, and with some claims to Arctic resources. So I wonder if you could answer that question: what we're doing to help protect Greenland's integrity, and how do you feel about China's claims, such as they are, to Arctic resources?
Well, to several aspects of that. The first, with respect to Greenland, the future of Greenland is a decision for Greenland and for the Kingdom of Denmark. We are NATO partners with Denmark, and so our full partnership stands. Our obligations on Article 5, Article 2 of NATO stand, and we stand full square behind those.
So, Article 5, what does that mean? What is Article 5? Because first he called it an escalation. Now he's saying that there is a portion that he would need, that basically the NATO countries would have to do something under Article 5 if the US chose to, let's call it, invade Greenland, annex Greenland, however you want to call it. But here's a portion I wasn't aware of. One of the NATO article, the number 5, as Carney referred to. So here's directly from NATO.int as an international. So Article 5, the parties agree that an armed attack against one or more of them in Europe or North America shall be considered an attack against them all, and consequently, they agree that if such an armed attack occurs, each of them, in exercise of the right of individual or collective self-defense recognized by Article 51 of the Charter of the United Nations, will assist the party or parties so attacked by taking forthwith, individually and in concert with the other parties, such as action as it deems necessary, including the use of armed forces to restore and maintain the security of the North Atlantic area, any such armed attack, and all measures taken as a result, and therefore shall immediately be reported to the Security Council. Such measures shall be terminated when the Security Council have taken the measures necessary to restore and maintain international peace and security. So basically, Article 5 dictates what NATO countries are to do if one of them are attacked. And basically attacking, let's say attacking Canada would be kind of attacking everybody in the NATO alliance. And every single country individually would have to take a decision as what are they going to do to help, let's say, Canada. But it is based, as Article 5 says, individually on each country to decide what they want and won't do. But the question becomes, and this is where it becomes interesting, is what happens if Trump decides to invade Greenland? Can NATO go after the US? This is the very, very interesting part. So if the US invade Denmark, could invoke Article 5, treating the US action as an attack on all NATO members. The other 30 allies would then decide individually or collectively how to respond, potentially including military force against the US to restore and maintain the security of the area. In legal terms, this assistance is not automatic or compelled. Each member chooses what they deem necessary, which could range from sanctioning or sanctions/diplomacy to airstrike or ground support. We all know, obviously, that the US, if the US decided to invade Greenland, there's nothing much that the NATO could do. We know that they wouldn't band together to attack the US. We're considering the US has between 1.3, 1.4 million active duty personnel right now, compared to the combined force of NATO outside of the US is at 2 to 2.1 million. So it's not going to happen. But the thing that becomes very, very interesting is was said by Danish Prime Minister. The Danish Prime Minister, Denmark, owns Greenland, basically. So I'm not going to play the video of it. It's in Danish, so I have a translation here. But what she said is this: first of all, I think one should take the American president seriously when he says that he wants Greenland. But I will also make clear that if the U.S. chooses to attack another NATO country militarily, then everything stops. That includes our NATO and thereby the security that has been provided since the end of the Second World War. Denmark has always been a good ally to the US, and we wish to continue to be so. But I also have to address some of the things being said from the American side, and we will, of course, not put up with any situation where we and Greenland are threatened in this way. And if you notice what she said, this is the important sentence of what she had to say, but I also want to make clear that if the U.S. chooses to attack another NATO ally militarily, then everything stops. And what she means by that is, one, it's interesting, but there's no mention in any articles of NATO what happens if they need to expel a country from NATO. There's not really a way that's dictated through their articles, but what she was referring to is that a country like the US attacking another NATO country would literally put an end to NATO. Like, this could completely destroy NATO, because she believes, and most analysts believes the same thing, that NATO could not survive an internal military conflict between its members. So, as we spoke about last week, we did speak about the Donroe Doctrine, how Trump could be using it to go, obviously, that's why he's going against Greenland, because he wants to use the Golden Dome in order to go after Greenland and say how important it is for the Americans to get control of Greenland. But he's talking about the Donroe Doctrine or the Donroe Doctrine, or you can call them the Trump corollaries. But where it becomes also extremely interesting is Canada next. And the reason I'm saying Canada, he's not going to invade Canada. But one thing that we spoke about in the episode that we touched on the Donroe Doctrine is Trump is very, very interested in the Northwest Passages, like our waterways to the north between us and the Arctic, because he says we're not securing it properly. And China uses the Northwest Passage in order to get to Europe faster, to expedite goods from China to Europe. Literally cuts 7,000 kilometers in distance between China and Europe. So it's extremely profitable for China to be there, but it also causes a security risk as per what Trump is concerned, because if you've ever looked at the Northwest Passage, it obviously goes right next to Alaska before going through. And Trump argues that this is not in-way, it's not in-way waters, but it's international waters. So it's this whole thing is very interesting, how Trump could literally put an end to NATO by annexing, invading, taking over Denmark the way he did Venezuela. And most of the countries, the 8 NATO countries that have been slapped with tariffs, are going to be slapped with tariff on February 1st, are all going to be in Davos Switzerland for the WEF annual conference. So this should make for a very fucking interesting conversation. Having Trump that wants to take over a country or take a second country.
Yeah, I mean, the
and they're
Greenland
all
thing-
there.
Yeah, the Greenland
Tariffs for you,
thing.
tariffs for you, tariffs for you. But the part you
Yeah.
missed, though, before you answer, is that
Okay.
Carney mentioned today when he was in Qatar, he mentioned Article 5 of NATO, which dictates that an attack on one is an attack on all, but
Mhm.
it's a individual response. All the 30-ish countries will have to decide for themselves if they do something or not. If Greenland were to be attacked by the US, but
I can
the
I can spoil
Danish-
this right now. No country, no European country is going to war in the United States over fucking Denmark.
but that's not what could change the tone of everything or destroy NATO. Is the Danish prime minister yesterday said that if Trump does that, it could put an end to everything, as in it could put an end to NATO, because they will not, obviously she is paraphrasing, she's not saying it directly, but nobody's going to go after the US.
No,
Nobody's
no,
going to go
no.
after them. Nobody's
No.
going to protect them. But not only do they not have a way to expel a country from NATO, that's not part of any of their articles, but somebody as big as the US deciding to go after another NATO country would destroy the alliance.
No, it doesn't. It's a ridiculous argument because NATO is America. It's not. It just couldn't exist. It could not exist without America. And it's to say NATO's going to attack America is saying America's going to attack itself. It's a nonsensical thought. Even to the extent that the European forces have military equipment, it's almost all American. Like their fighter jets, their everything, their weapons, and a lot of them have kill switches. The nice F-35 you got there. Be a shame if something happened to it. Is basically what it is. So this is all. It's all theater. I actually think there's a good chance Trump gets Greenland, but I think it'll be. I think they'll just buy it. It's the thing that makes the most sense for Greenland, for Denmark, for Greenland.
But that's what he's proposing. He's not proposing to invade it right now.
No, yeah.
He's proposing to buy it, and I saw some articles saying that he has offered like $100,000 per Greenlander if they agreed to annex the country. So it's not gonna happen, but
No.
it is just interesting how it is very interesting when you have a country as powerful as the US to decide to swing their dick around and see how people it kind of reminds people that you have a place, it ain't in front of the pack, you're behind me, and the only reason you haven't been invaded by, let's say, China or Russia is probably because the US have been backing you through NATO. If those countries, if the US chooses to get off of NATO and not defend what happens in Europe anymore, you're going to see that the tone in Europe is going to change heavily towards Russia. They're not going to be smacking their gums like they're smacking their mouth right now. But it's been a while since we've seen a president of the United States swing his power like this, because he did not do that between 2016 to 2020. Trump did not do that.
No.
Trump was not doing. Now he's just.
Yeah, no. I think he needed to get I think he was a bit of a deer in headlights in his first term. As Trevor says, media is overblowing the story. Yeah, of course they are, because it's got all the things. It makes Trump look crazy. If you keep saying, is Trump going to invade Greenland? Is Trump going to invade Greenland? And it's a juicy story, but it's nonsense. Trump's not going to. Yeah, people say, oh, well, he'll do what he did in Venezuela. That's completely different, though. Venezuela was aligned with America's enemies. Trump's erratic for sure, and he does ballsy moves, but he's not stupid. He's not going to invade, start a war with a European ally, and he won't need to.
No, but it's just funny what happens when the big dick in the room's actually using it. He's not being polite in the corner anymore. He's just like, okay, who can I fuck next?
Oh yeah,
And that's what's happening.
he's just
Because
in the corner.
Venezuela, oh yeah, Venezuela.
He's in the corner,
and,
lubing it up, just taking a look around. Who's
Yep.
next?
So, yep. And like I said before, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes his next moves to go after, because if he gets Greenland, he needs to get the Northwest Passage. He's gonna get it. Like that's the next thing that he's gonna do. And if nobody does nothing about NATO doesn't do anything about Greenland, I guarantee you that Mark Carney is not going to do anything about the Northwest Territory, nor does it have the power to do it. And I think that because Carney is going with China, is aligning with China so much, or like especially over the past few days, that he's going to force Trump to take it over, because he doesn't want China to start being in Canada more than they already are. It's this year is going to be very, very interesting. Politically speaking, Jesus. Geopolitics like this has not happened in a very long. I would argue like end of the 80s, beginning of the 90s, when Gorbachev signed the treaty with NATO and said, this is where we're not going. You guys can't go there. We can't go there. But I don't think since the Cold War, the end of the Cold War, there hasn't been anything like this, which people will be reminded of their place and where they actually stand in the hierarchy of power.
Oh, for sure. Should we take a couple comments, or do we?
Oh yeah, go for it, because our guest is already there. He's been there for a while, actually. Good for him for being early. I always appreciate
that. For 3 minutes there. Sanjay Lee says Trump will take Greenland and surround Canada, and Canada will have to bend the knee. Trump doesn't need Greenland to make Canada bend the knee if he wants to.
Fair point.
There's no need to surround us. He could just walk into the fucking front door. I think it's just the whole discourse is it's, and it is, as Trevor said, it's being beefed up by the media because it's a good story, right? It's a juicy story, but it's not going to happen. I forget who it was, but they asked about how much of NATO is American, and I looked up. It's 66% of NATO total funding.
Military budget, not total funding, because total funding is like 22 or 25%. But if you're looking at the military portion of it, it's like
no, I think
it's like 60
I think it's switched around. Direct funding is 15, so that's like the money given to NATO, and then when you do defense spending, it's 66.
Yeah, I saw anywhere between 65 to 70%, like 60 to 70. But I was talking.
They are NATO,
but 1.3, 1.4 active duty personnel in their military, versus all the other country of NATO, they're about 2 million to 2.1.
Yeah.
So, and that is if every single one of them align with the US, and I guarantee you none of them are really equipped to the extent of the US either. This is the thing, right? It's one thing to say you have 1.3, 1.4 million people as part of in active duty, but you have to put in the equipment that the US, and they have bases all over the country. Over the world, sorry, not just in the US. Like they will launch a military attack. They don't need to launch it from the US.
Nobody else can project power across the planet like America. And then China might be a distant second. But most, like, I know Canada does this, but even most European countries, when we go to like war with America, like in Iraq and Afghanistan, we get our troops and equipment there by the Americans. We use they pick us up. Like we just can't. And that's people think only about like numbers with the military, or like what happens if the troops are there, but you don't often think about actually getting to the theater, and that's huge, right? If you can't get there, there's no war, and there's no one else in the world that can get around the world like America.
Pick me up, bro.
Exactly. Hey, basically, the Europeans would need to. They need to hitch a ride to Greenland on America's ships to fight America. Hey boys, can we get a ride to the war there? Yeah, we'll be cool on the way there, and then we'll turn against it once we get there. It's nonsense. It's utter nonsense.
Before we get to our guests, I need to talk about our sponsors, and I need to talk about who else is coming on the show this week, at least up to now. So the main sponsor of the Political Orphans is Gabble, the world's first live video debate app on the market. You can choose to sit back and watch, or you can do like I do and debate others. They have 10 topics every day. pick the side you want to be in and debate others. People vote for the winner. If there's a tie, AI actually decide who the winner is, and you can actually win. I don't know why I never talk about that, but you can actually win $50 US every day by winning the debates. If you scored the most points, you're the one that makes money. So if you're interesting in if you're deciding if you should give sperm, maybe you should join Gabble to see if you can make money first, so you don't have to give sperm. But
Okay.
if you're interested, look in the description below. We have our affiliate link there. Tomorrow at 7:30, we are joined by John Carpe from the Constitutional Freedom, Jesus, I'm drawing a blank. Constitutional Freedom. What? Constitutional
Center
JCCF, Justice Center for
Justice.
Constitutional Freedom. Wow. He's joining us at 7:30 to speak about the ruling that happened on Friday, where the Federal Court of Appeal ruled that Justin Trudeau's use of the Emergency Act was indeed illegal and unconstitutional. Then on Tuesday, we will be joined by Jason Levine to speak about the tour that he currently is on with Bruce Pardy and Nadine Wellwood. They're going all over Alberta to speak about sovereignty, and he will give us an update on the Alberta sovereignty movement, because I don't know if you saw the videos of the people out there, but the lines are just freaking massive to go sign for the referendum.
Yeah, I have seen them.
And tonight I'm just gonna get Freek, you're good to go, like thumbs up, you're ready to go. Give me a thumbs up. Awesome. So I don't know if
before you bring him on, Nico, I just want to do a quick spiel, guys. If you're just tuning in, please remember to like and share the stream. Looks like we've got pretty healthy numbers right now, so everything helps get us into the algorithm. So maybe remember to do that. If you definitely want to support the show, you can do that by becoming a member through YouTube for the low price of $2.99 per month, or buy some coffee in the upper right hand, or just keep sticking around, keep throwing comments out. That's another way to support us. And back to you.
That's back to you. I'm just going to take this one before I go. Trevor is saying that ruling is meaningless. There's no laws in place to hold them accountable. I posted about this. I got a post on Instagram that's going viral about this. And this is one of the main reasons I want to talk to John, because I want to hear, okay, great, but so what? What comes next? That's the whole point of having John on the show tomorrow, is to discuss what comes next. And are they indeed, like I believe, they have immunity from the crown? They cannot be liable criminally. But for now, we will be speaking to, and I apologize, man, I should have asked you first, because your first name is Freek. As a Frenchie, that means freak. That's awesome.
Kind of a badass
Freek
name, to be
Schep.
honest.
I absolutely love it. So tonight we are joined by the founder of Stand United Canada, Freek Schep. What is going on, sir?
What's up, man?
How's it going? Yeah, that's so funny that you say that, because most people, the first time they see my name, they say Freek, and
Freek.
at this point I get used to it, but it's pronounced Freek. I always say Drake Freek or Rake Freek.
Oh.
No, it's Freek around here. It's like we got a commenter.
Sorry.
We got a commenter around here whose name's Rusty Weiner, and we're like,
like right here.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Rusty Weiner around.
It's Wiener.
Around these
It's
parts.
Rusty Wiener.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Get out of
bro.
here with a Weiner.
But
Yeah,
that's
you got a
that's what Dutch names do to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there you go. So let me ask you this. So you are organizing a Canada-wide protest on January 31st.
Yeah, tell us more.
Great thing. You approached me a few months ago to share it. I did. But then I saw that you posted with a bigger account. I can't remember who it was. Somebody else reposted you. That caught my interest. I'm like, oh shit, this actually is growing. Since last time I checked your accounts, it's been growing. So talk to us about, I got a bunch of questions, especially because you're young, right? You look like you can't even grow a beard yet. How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 22 years old. I do have some facial hair, but
I love it. Don't take this as an insult. On the contrary, it's something we need more youngsters to be taking over this, because it's not me as a 43-year-old that's going to inspire a 16-year-old or an 18-year-old to get involved with what's going on in politics. So what inspired you to do this, and does your faith have anything to do with it?
Yeah, so I started Stand United Canada years ago. It was actually close to, the Freedom Convoy. And since then, I've been kind of, organizing protest for different topics. A couple of years ago, we did against the carbon tax. And then a few months ago, we did a farmers protest after what happened at the, with the CFIA at the ostrich farm. And ever since, we've just been going, organizing things. 1 million March for Children. We did a vigil for Charlie Kirk. So yeah, we just try to stay on topic on what's happening. And right now, after what happened in China, and when Carney mentioned the World New Order, we couldn't be quiet anymore. And this was our time to organize something bigger. And yeah.
Nice.
So basically, you're saying that it has to do with the New World Order that he's talking about. Does that have anything to do with the censorship bills like the C2, C8, C9, C12, C16, and the new bill C63 that will be retabled soon?
Yeah, all the bills that are going out, especially for free speech, especially as someone as Faith, like you mentioned earlier, we are at a, this is the point where we have to stand up and show, because it's soon going to be that we won't be able to go out in public to share our faith on the streets, because the government will just censor us or stop us or ban us or whatever they will do. Yeah.
So is this sorry, it's protest. Is it just one, or is it one location? Is it across many cities, or how is
Yeah, so what we're doing is we're going to do in every major city across Canada. We're going to do citywide marches. That's kind of the idea behind it. To get hundreds, thousands, hopefully will show up to these marches and just fill the city up with people, because that's what we want. We just want to have people out there in the cities marching. It doesn't matter if they're going by government buildings or not. It's just more for the presence and showing that Canadians, I mean, we have enough, and we're still here, and we're not going to be quiet.
For the guys that are interested, here's a post that you guys published yesterday. And yeah, that's who it was, Proud Canuck. That's who I approached. I saw the post that you were tagged in. I approached him. I'm like, hey, bro, you got to give me the contact of this young man. I want to have him on the show. So for you guys that are interested, this is what we're talking about: nationwide protests against Mark Carney and the Liberal Party of Canada. Every major city across Canada. Carney must go. More details coming soon. That was shared yesterday, and you already have like 13,000 likes on it, which is great considering the size of your account. That is massive. So good for you. Obviously, it is something that is needed today, especially. And the reason I wanted to talk to you is because your youth has something to play with it. Because if you look, I was just looking at the data earlier, and I'm just going to share it on screen for the viewers so that you get an idea of what I'm talking about. But there's a new poll by Abacus Data that just came out that is indicating that here is the federal vote intention per party. Obviously, we're going to stick around the blue and the red, which is the conservative versus the liberals. If you look for the 18th to 29th, Abacus Data is saying that 50% would vote conservative, 27% would vote liberal, 30 to 44, that's my age group, 41 to 41 would vote conservative, 35 liberal, so it's a lot closer. Now, if you go to the 45 to 59, you're looking at 43% conservative, 39% liberal. But where the massive difference is 60 and over. So the 60 and over, you're looking at 32% of intent are conservative compared to the 52% of intentions would be towards the liberals. So if you can see, it's almost a complete reversal of the 18 to 29 and the 60 and over. But where it gets really interesting is if you look at the data, because this is the what Abacus Data said, and that was released on the 14th, so 4 days ago. But if you look at the the outpolls from the last federal election, it's great that the youth are more conservative than ever. But if you look at the numbers, only 44% of Canadian youth showed up to vote, compared to the 76% that came out to vote for the 60 and above. So we'll call them boomers for the sake of argument. So is this what this protest is about? You want to inspire the youth to get involved because they're not turning out to vote the way other age groups are?
Yeah, I think for people my age in this generation, these kind of protests, going out there, these kind of rallies, is a way to inspire. And me, I started different accounts actually called Freek Schep, and I'm going out there and doing street interviews and asking hard questions, and I'm trying to expose to the youth, to my generation, how the liberals react to questions I ask. And that makes them to start thinking, okay, should I be actually trusting this or following this or liking the way they do things? So I kind of mix the rallies and the protest with, what I'm doing on the side. And so far that's been working pretty well. I'm growing actually a number of my generation, a group of them, to go to these protests. So
yes, speaking of generations, what's the average demographics that you're expecting for this protest?
Yeah, so normally in the past, it's mainly been a mix of, ages. It's been probably, I would say, from 18 till 60. But mainly it was probably 85%, 30 to 60. Yeah, I would say more boomers than anything. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it is true. Like, we have a comment first. Rusty, sorry for your ears, Freak, but Rusty, fuck off. Yes, I almost said federal erection. I caught myself. I was going to say federal erection for some reason, but yeah, thanks for showing it. But if you look at the numbers, it totally makes sense, because it was over 60%. What was it? 60% of the people that showed up. Yeah, 52% of people over 60 voted. Sorry, no, that wasn't it. Hold on, that's not the right post. This is the post I'm talking about. It was 76% of boomers voted. So it makes sense, even though it's 50% voted for liberals, only 30% voted conservative, that they're the main people that show up. But I'm hoping that a guy your age will inspire youngsters to show up, because that's why I was happy to see you do it and growing, so people are paying attention. But what differentiates you from, let's say, a Joe Anajar, the founder of Canada First movement, that just recently, I think it was on the 10th, it was last week, he organized a Canada First protest in Toronto. And as much as, like, him and I have spoken before, like we send texts every now and then, as much as I think his idea is great, his gathering never seems to bring out that many people. What do you think is different about you? And do you think you'll be able to get the type of numbers that we just saw in Toronto over the weekend? Like, there's reports out there that I have problems believing. I don't think there were that many people, because I've been in protests of 100,000 people, and they seemed a lot bigger than what I've seen. But there were tens of thousands of people showing up in Toronto in support of the protest in Iran. Do you think you'll be able to duplicate that right here? Because up to now, I have not seen, outside of Freedom Convoy or what happened during COVID, any other protest that was as big as what we saw for Iran over the weekend.
Yeah, I totally respect what Joe's doing in Toronto. He's doing his own thing there, and he's so focused only on Toronto, growing his community. He's doing monthly, rallies there. But the problem is everything is so expensive now. People are not going to drive very far to go to a protest or a rally. People are not going to drive from British Columbia, let's say, to Ottawa anymore. That's just not going to happen. And so that's why we are doing a nationwide protest, so people can go to their nearest cities and I think that more people will show up because it's closer, less gas money, cheaper for them, and I think that's what's important, is doing something that's more convenient for the people to show up. But when it comes to the Iran protest, I think Canadians are still, dealing with some sort of fear that if there were something big to happen like this, that police might come out in heavy forces and arrest people or give people fines, and that's the problem. People are just too fearful after what happened and with the Freedom Convoy, and we just need more bold people to stand up. And yeah.
I want to take one of the questions from Rusty Wiener. I'd like to know what he seizes in his peers when talking to them. Are the younger generation more red-pilled than the millennials?
I'm supposed to answer that?
That one's for you, man.
In your opinion.
I don't really know what the red pills or the millennials mean, but
the red pills basically mean that you've seen the Matrix, obviously. You take the red and the blue pill. You take the blue pill if you want to continue living the lie. You take the red pill if you want to know the truth. Red pill simply means that it's the beginning of the truth. You're ready. You know there's a problem. You might not know what the problem actually is now, but you're ready to wake up to, let's say, our government being tyrannical since 2020. Everything that they've done to us through COVID, through the lockdowns, through what they did through the convoy. Realizing this could mean you were red-pilled, like something's wrong. You might not know what to do about it, but you know something's wrong. Is that what you're seeing from your generation? Is they know something is wrong, they just don't know what to do about it, or they don't know quite what's wrong yet?
Yeah, I think they're kind of at this point in their life that they just don't care. They're blinded. They don't want to go out and put the effort in to really care what's going on. A lot of my friends, they literally say that, like, Freek, why are you so interested in politics? Why you, like, isn't Canada fine? But while I see, like, okay, my future is at risk because I soon might not be able to buy a home or afford a home because it's so expensive. So I see where things are going, but they don't see that. And so they're blinded in that way. And that's I feel like that's what's holding them back. Yeah.
Was something you wanted to add to that, Rob?
No, I was just, I'm pretty impressed. You're only 22 years old and you're quite conscientious. Certainly I was not disengaged at your age when I was,
but he's a liberal, so don't be surprised that he wasn't
or ever, to be honest. I've never been that engaged ever. No, I'm just kidding, but yeah, no, I just want to say, congratulations to you, and keep it up. What's next then for this? Is this do you intend to kind of keep this going, make this a regular thing?
Yeah, so we try to do a monthly thing. Normally it's a different topic. But everything that's been recently happening, we try to do it completely focused on Mark Carney and the Liberal government and just having accountability. I think that's the main thing right now Canadians need, is accountability after everything that's been going on. And yeah, so we'll be hitting the streets January 31st across Canada, every major city. And that's what we want is accountability.
What's the results you'd like to reach? Like, what would make January 31st a success in your eyes?
Yeah, really having the presence of the people there. When the people show up, the media shows up and it's far out there, right? When the media shows, if it's the right media, they really can't hide hundreds and thousands of people. They just can't do that. So if a lot of people show up out there, like, I think that's gonna have an effect on the government somehow.
One of the things that I see as a problem in Canada, at least because we had Chris Barber on the show a few weeks back, and one of the question I asked him is if he would be involved in another ish freedom convoy for the censorship bills that the liberals are trying to pass, the C2, C8, C9, C12, C16, C63. And I'm paraphrasing obviously right now, but his answer was pretty much, I served my time, because he's still under house arrest right now. He's still paying the price for 2022, and he wants others to take over. But what he was also saying is he's more focused now on Saskatchewan becoming independent. And considering what's going on in Alberta right now, where a lot of the freedom, because it seems that a lot of the freedom fighters in Canada are from the West or the Central or West Canada. It seems like Quebec and Ontario is not as interested in the freedom movement. Do you think it's going to be problematic because Alberta and Saskatchewan is so focused on doing their own thing, that is trying to get sovereignty for their own province?
Yeah, well, I'm actually getting messages every day from people saying, I'm focusing on Alberta, what you just said. And you guys, good luck with your protests. Like, have fun. But we're going to separate, and we're going to do our own thing. And that's the thing, right? They're not focused on the rest of Canada, or they're still part of Canada right now. They're still dealing with the same issues, but they still don't. They want to lay their focus on there because they think it's going to happen soon. So,
but do you think that's going to play a role? That's going to play, I don't want to say against you, but technically it would, because they're more interested in. They're tired of dealing with Ottawa. They've been taken advantage of for too long, that they don't want to be involved anymore. They just want to separate. Quebec is possibly going the same way in 2026. We're going to have an election here, and the party that's leading is a separatist party, a very open separatist movement. That's what they want. They want to separate from Canada. So you're looking potentially at Quebec. You're looking at potentially Alberta. And from what we know, having spoken to Jeff Rath last week, he was on another show that I'm on, and he admitted that he is in talks with the party representative of the separatist party in Canada, in Quebec, that is leading in the polls right now massively. So they're organizing. They're going to help each other get their independence. So I'm just wondering, do you think it's going to play a role? It's going to make it more difficult for people to care about Canada?
Well, I think Alberta is definitely, majority conservative, and they really show up when it comes to protest. So if they do separate, it's going to bring a big effect on the rest of Canada for the people who actually go out there, show up, and do something. At that point, it would just be the rest of Canada having to wake up to seeing what's really going on in this country and taking a stand. Because once Alberta is separated, then it's on us to take that role, take that responsibility.
Anything you wanted to add, Rob?
No. I mean, like I said, very well spoken, young man. I think you've answered all the questions I had. Was there a couple? I think there's a couple questions that. There's a comment. Did you have some more to add, and then we can take some of the questions?
I can ask questions. I can ask a lot of questions, but take some of the comments.
Pam and AB, I applaud your involvement, Freek. We need more of your generation to engage.
I agree.
Yeah. Jason Lang says Alberta has not tried to separate before, so I don't get how we keep doing the same thing. Yeah. So one thing we talk about on the show a lot here, Freek, is the Alberta separation issue. It's obviously important to you as well. No one has a crystal ball, but we have a pretty good cross section of different voices. I always like to hear their opinion. What do you think is the timeline for this?
For like Alberta separating?
Yeah, I assume it's going to happen.
And
is this part of your movement, or is this just a sort of a personal political, position of yours separate from your movement?
Yeah, I don't know when it could happen or when it's going to happen, but I think Alberta has had enough, and they're seeing what's happening. They're
We keep hearing the same thing from everyone in Alberta.
Yeah, and they're educating, their friends, their family, their neighbors, and people are saying the same thing and the same message. And so once that, keeps rolling, keeps happening, at some point it's just, it's just going to happen. It just has to happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think, I have a last question for you. Do you think it's going to, do you think that Canada is going to have to get worse before it gets better?
For people to stand, I mean, we're right now at a point in Canada where things are soon going to get, really bad. I mean, we're seeing all these things. We're going into the, the new world order. It's just going to happen. And unfortunately, Canadians are, Canada is a very, respectful country. We're open to all these different things. Welcoming, yeah, a little too much, especially me from the Netherlands. We're a little more bold, and that's kind of where my inspiration comes from to lead a movement like this. But yeah, we got to be more bold to stand up there, because soon we won't be able to anymore. It will be too late. So we're at a tipping point right now in Canada where we have to do something. Like, it's crucial. Otherwise, yeah, it'll be too late.
Well, I want to thank you for responding to me. I want to thank you for joining the show, for coming here, and especially doing what you're doing. I want to wish you the best of luck on the 31st. Let me know if there's anything I can do to help, because as I said multiple times, and as you saw in the comments, we're very welcoming and impressed by the youth. We need more young people to speak out, even if I disagree with you, at least to show involvement, because it matters. It really matters. The youth are who's going to be responsible for taking over this mess. It's not going to be me. I'll be dead by the time you guys have to take over. So you're going to have to be there and do something about it. So yeah, good for you for doing what you do, and best of luck, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Freek.
Yeah, thanks for hosting.
Absolutely. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Yes, have a great day.
Bye. So there you have it. Yeah, good young man. Well spoken. Good for him. I'm always impressed to see the youth take over, because they have to, right? They absolutely have to take over. So it's January 31st. So ish 2 weeks from now, 12 days.
Yeah. No, that'd be, I mean,
days from
yeah,
now.
it's pretty good to put on your resume at 22. I don't even know if you could, but it's an impressive, feat for sure.
Yeah, and he's been growing. Like, I've been looking on his Instagram. Like, I remember when he first approached me months ago, he had a super small account. I did share it, like his one of his first protests, but he's been growing and growing and growing. So it just kind of shows the unrest, or how people are really getting fed up with Canada. So good for him for doing what he does. And it always, as I said, it always impresses me when people are ready to do what others don't have the balls to do. Because there's a lot of people out there that are going to criticize him. They're going to, yes, I could have spoken about, does he really think that the conservative movement is going to be that much better than the liberals? I could have pushed him on those questions, but that was not the point. I'm just happy to see that he's getting involved and opening up his eyes as we go. And hopefully he meets others that will open his eyes as he's opening the young people's eyes. So yeah, just good stuff all around. I think it's a good way to start our first show of the week, or Sundays. So
yeah, absolutely. What do we got? Got a few more minutes left. Did you have any more topics you want, or you want to take some questions?
Well, you can take some comments if some of the comments you want. There's a bunch of stuff that we could talk about, but not enough time to actually talk about it. So yeah.
All right, let me just scroll up. And I mean, most of it's just support for Freek. What did Rusty Wiener say? He says, "I feel bad, Rob." Yeah, Rob should pronounce it correctly. I kind of feel sorry for him. Yeah. You sure you don't have an agenda here, Rusty? I feel like Rusty on the pronounce names correctly agenda. Nah, bro. We see what you're doing.
Your name is always sorry, bro. Your name's
Yeah.
always gonna be
Yeah,
Rusty.
we'll pronounce
Wiener.
Freck's name correctly, but that ain't gonna help you. That ain't
I
gonna
like
help
Freak
you.
better. I thought that was a
Yeah,
great
yeah,
name.
yeah. Freak.
Yeah,
what
but
was
there's
it,
some
Freak,
names that don't translate. There's some
no.
names that don't translate well in English. What did he say? It's pronounced like Freck?
Freck, yeah. Yeah.
So
Shrek
like
with an F.
Shrek.
Yeah, Shrek
Yeah.
with an F.
Yeah, Freck. Yeah, okay. I like Freak better. Freak so much better.
Yeah, I do too. It sounds badass. Ray Davis says,
Yep.
respect, young man. Many boomers will be with you. Canada will be unrecognizable if boomers don't show up. Sober up.
Sober up. Yeah.
Sober
As
up.
you
yeah.
should, as you should too. Yeah, sober up.
Yeah, exactly.
Sober
Yeah.
up. I think we'll call it a day, bro. If you want to
Yeah.
do your speech and put a pin in her.
Let's put a pin in her. Excellent show, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Great start to the week. If you recall, who do we have tomorrow? John Carpe?
We have John Carpe from the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedom to speak about the ruling that happened on Friday, where the Federal Court of Appeal ruled that Justin Trudeau's use of the Emergency Act was illegal and unconstitutional. But the reason I really want to have him on the show is to tell us what comes next. Because when I saw that ruling, I'm like, that's great, but who cares? Like, if you're not going to keep Justin Trudeau accountable, if he'll never see the inside of a court, what does it matter? Because that means that politicians can continue doing what they're doing and they will have there's no consequences for their actions because they're protected by the Crown immunity. So that's what I want to talk about tomorrow. And on Tuesday, Jason Levine is joining us to speak about the tour that he's currently on and update us on the Alberta sovereignty movement as he's been going all over Alberta. So that's what we have up to now. I'm always looking to book guests as topics arise. So stay tuned.
Yeah, we always got a surprise guest here or there. But yeah, tomorrow it's going to be a friend of the show, John Carpe, and then it's Wednesday, right? Is the next guy or Tuesday?
No, tomorrow, Monday is John, and Tuesday is Jason.
Okay. Awesome. And yeah, you never know. We might have a couple more slotted in towards the end of the week. Guys, if you want to support the show, please consider becoming a member through YouTube. You can do that for the low price of $2.99 per month. Another way you can support the show is with the Buy Us a Coffee QR code in the upper right-hand corner. And again, another classic way to support the show, doesn't cost anything, is keep coming back. Throw those comments in there. Again, anytime we have guests, we don't take as many comments. We just want to let our guests do the talking. But normally this show is heavily based on audience participation, audience engagement. So you get those comments in there. Agree with us, disagree with us, critique us, call Nico gay. Do whatever you want, as long as you're throwing comments out there. And then he'll be like, I'm not gay, I'm French. And of course, we all are like, yeah, fair point.
So basically, you're trying to play the Rusty Wiener game by putting it
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
they all know who the gay ones between.
Yeah, exactly.
Good try though, Rusty.
Yeah.
Good try.
Yeah, trying to deflect blame.
Good try.
Other than that, folks, I think that's it. We're gonna catch you tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern.
7 p.m.
7 p.m. Eastern. That's right. The new timeline. Enjoy the rest of the night, and we'll catch you tomorrow.
Peace.
Peace.